Collective, it's Al. I'm coming to you with a standalone post that we released on the YouTube audience for the handful of people who regularly watch those videos. And it basically centers around exactly the title that it stated, which was a direct message to a group of divine feminines who are out there who are now stepping into their full power as we head into this major new epoch transition that we're heading into in 2025 and 26. And basically what the message was is I needed to address something that's kind of underneath all of it that needs to be known as we head into it. So if it resonates with you, it will be because you're on the cusp of something big. But what it basically came down to is I was given information about some of you divine feminines being in a position where you are the empress in hiding. You have always been a teacher dressed as a student, or you are a guide or a healer of some kind that was always being prepared to help humanity rise above the chaos that's to come. And so as you step into your full power, you will be ignited in your eternal glow up, and in the process attract a lot of other eyes, in particular your divine masculine. Now the interesting part about that is that whether you believe in divine masculine and divine feminine unions, you understand that there's a divine calling, and that when you two come together, if you're in right alignment, you will do something together as a group, as a couple, that will change the world at large. But it is a function, and it's not just all encompassing, but it's like the actual incarnation of love itself, figuring out the dance that always happens between the divine masculine and divine feminine throughout all of our lifetimes. That's kind of the eternal mix that always happens under all of creation. It's a dance between masculine and feminine energy and the creation that comes from such beauty. So as you guys step into this, you have caught the eye of your divine masculine. But the thing with divine masculine energy is that there's a bit of strategy and a bit of analytics that goes into how they approach the divine feminine, because they understand that she's not just anybody. This is someone who's been hidden in plain sight, or there's been some sort of issue, especially if we believe in twin flames, and there's been some sort of dynamic that's a little off-putting. And so he's taking time to assess the best way to approach some of you. But being a divine masculine has triggered a lot of other energy to become aware of how special you are, even without him physically being in front of you. And it's bringing attention from other individuals who are also seeing the light and the glow up of who you are. And it's important for you to learn discernment at this time, because not all of them mean you well. And the dream went kind of like this. I was in a dream minding my own business, and I became suddenly aware of that old post I had done relating to the story of Beauty and the Beast, and how I was upset over the fact that there was a Bell-type group of divine feminines, which can be both male or female, remember? Gay men have divine masculine, divine feminine, or have a masculine feminine dance between them, and so do lesbians. So it's kind of all of you all together. But I'm just going to say divine feminine energy. The divine feminine energy, Belle, was at the center of the storyline that we were talking about back then. And I was upset because Gaston's energy, that energy of the whiny prince who really shouldn't be king, but he wants whatever he wants and wants to own her, was throwing a hissy fit because Belle turned him down and had decided to go for Beast, which was just someone who was working through their shadow, and in their union raised him up, and they became a divine coupling that then led a kingdom. So we finished that storyline. Well, Gaston showed up again, only now his energy is dark, and he has decided to manipulate some of the divine feminines into believing that he truly loves them in order to utilize their skill sets for his own advantages, whether it be in business or whether it be in whatever platform he has or whatever it is. And in the process, triggered my guides to then mention it to me, because they know I have zero filter, and I went to bat. And I was like, I don't fucking think so. So what ended up happening is I was basically told what I'm going to tell you guys, which is all of us have free will. And part of being a divine vessel of light, whether you are a divine masculine or a divine feminine, is discernment. And there are tests that must be met, and you have to be conscious of your choices as you make them, because every choice has a reaction, and every reaction has other things that follow it. So to take away your ability to choose of your own accord would not be permissible under the circumstances that we're in. But that I was okay to directly address the situation from a very conscious awareness, which is this. Divine feminines, whatever body form you're in, you have been through too much in this lifetime to let someone try to manipulate you now. You have gone through hell and high water. You've escaped purgatory. You've gone through everything you need to do. The last thing you need to do is drop your guard around people that are too good to be true. Remember, a divine masculine doesn't hide behind anything. When he approaches you, it's from a strategic point. Usually divine masculines have some sort of estate, some sort of thing that they're bringing to offer the divine feminine. And sometimes it can be just like a job function, I don't know, whatever the dynamics are. But it is from a strategic analytical standpoint, not from a manipulative stance. Right? A divine masculine, let's say some of you have an idea or you believe that you're going to end up with a divine emperor. The divine emperor has a bunch of businesses and has a bunch of other side projects. And so when he approaches you, that will be part of what he's explaining to you as to what was the delay or what his apprehension is. It will be a naturally occurring conversation that you as his twin flame will register as truth. The other people who are in wrong alignment will ring bells off like you have no idea. And it'll be something as simple as your guides will suddenly fuck up the date. Like let's say you decide to go out with somebody and suddenly the music starts playing all negative music around the situation. And you suddenly find yourself like kind of being conscious of like something tapping you in the shoulder going, are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening? Or the person that you're supposed to be going out with suddenly has a flat tire, and then the second time you try to reschedule, something else goes wrong. These are all indications that this may not be the right person for you. Everyone has free choice, and you can decide to go ahead and keep going if you want. But I would say if you're a divine feminine, to understand that you are the gem. And so sometimes the higher realms will do whatever they can to grab your attention, even if it means going through someone who you don't directly know, like me. Because what ended up happening is the Gaston character has started to go into the darkest parts of occult knowledge. Things that we as vessels of light and beings don't deal with, because it deals with power-hungry behavior and egoish nature, and it's not something the divine feminines at this register would ever deal with. But he's coming at you dressed in white, pretending to be of service to the divine, when in actuality, he is actually only there to manipulate us into behaving in ways that will break the connection between us and the divine in order to control us and limit us. It's a very specific type of personality, and this is not for everyone. But it is a great example of being in a school and understanding from listening to the conversation what you are stepping into when you become a divine vessel of light and what people call chosen, or whatever house you belong to has different terminology. But you are standing in principle of something where there's a greater moral and ethical fiber behind you. And you are selected for those reasons, and that makes you shine like a diamond. Everyone can see it when you walk into a room. And upon that moment, you attract energies that maybe don't like you. But what pissed me off about this particular storyline that made me have a fit to begin with, which is why they brought it to me anyway, was because of the fact that I just was uncomfortable with the fact that you've gone through this much to fuck it up now. And so what they said, and this is the response I got, is it will be more than clear that this person is not in right relations, and that it will only be those who purposely ignore the divine's warnings in those scenarios that this will affect. But that doesn't mean that as a school and as peers, we don't talk about some of the stuff that can happen. Because in the dynamic between the divine masculine and the divine feminine coming into union, there's a natural draw, almost a vortex that sucks each other into each other's experience. But it takes a bit of strategy, right? Especially if it's a very powerful individual, someone who is either spiritually powerful or someone who in the physical world has a kingdom of some kind. There has to be a way to approach it where you protect the person that you are coming towards before you ever even release the information that you're dating. Otherwise, I don't know if it's a famous paparazzi. Otherwise, they start trying to break you apart and they have to go after you because they don't want you together. A divine couple is one of the biggest threats to a willfully ignorant world because you cannot look away from them and you cannot see what true love looks like. So you are looking for true love, but the caution was there might be other people that are a possibility to you. You didn't think that you would go through all of this and become who you were meant to be and only have one fucking option. You knew there were going to be other options. But the confusion comes in that some of us are looking for someone else to be the definitive yin or yang to our yin or yang, forgetting that we ourselves as divine beings are the balancing act between the two. Meaning, one of the things that we overlook when we are very spiritual is we forget that a divine being is a being who is balancing divine masculine and feminine energy within themselves and is what turns the wheel. So that means that sometimes a divine feminine will be best suited with, a divine feminine masculine will be best suited with a divine masculine feminine. Meaning a man who is comfortable being the back character to your presence in the personal life and in business be the fucking boss. right? It's that energy of someone who's so secure in themselves. It's Gomez and Morticia Adams. Morticia Adams is the vessel of light. She stands before the world. Everyone loves her, and Gomez is no different. In fact, she can't do any wrong to him. And he loves her beyond measure. But he is playing second fiddle, even though he's the one with the money. Very important discernment, right? Or a very important thing to point out. Because some divine feminines are looking to be part of a puzzle, in which case they are the secondary figure when they are meant to be the front person. And the reason this is important is, let's say you're a divine feminine that's supposed to heal the planet. Whatever the opportunity is that's going to happen between you and whatever you build may mean that if you're an outreach person, that you will be the face of the partnership. And he may be the funding. Or in reverse, the feminine might be the one standing behind it, raising the family that is the epitome of both of your dreams, and the masculine will be running the show. But do not make the assumption until you know each other what role you're going to be playing, because you are by this point supposed to have been able to play both roles. And that is a very important part to this, because there are other options that are around you that may be better suited for who you are. And here's where it gets a little bit more interesting. Let's say that you have a friend that's been in the friend zone for a while, but you've had feelings that's just never worked out. And let's say that the universe suddenly stops you at a time like this through me and says, hey, are you sure you're looking in the right direction? Because what makes you think that you won't be the breadwinner? Are you looking at the right relations, or are you trying to balance everything on your own shoulders and trying to figure it out only analytically as opposed to listening to your heart and your soul? Because your soul might be saying to you, I get that this person might make it easier on the front end, but have you really processed what it means on the back end? Whereas this person right here might be interested in you, you're just not looking at them. You're not even considering him because you're looking for an ideal that does not exist. You're trying to make somebody into your ideal person, forgetting that divine unions are built of equality. It's people who come to the table equally. So no one person is more important than the other in a divine union. So what they wanted me to point out, especially to a handful, I do mean a handful of you in the divine feminine category this registers with, is to sit in your headspace tonight or whenever you see this and really process what it is you're looking for. Because there's at least two of you, and specifically whoever the Bell character is, that I am connected to because of Mary Magdalene and because of the Rose. You in particular seem to have a wish that mirrors mine, which is, I want to experience love. I don't care about money and anything else like that. Yes, my goal and my passion is to build schools and to bring the world towards each other and to be of service to the great architect. But at the end of the day, it will only come from a naturally occurring love that is unconditional and unquenching. It's a love that cannot be extinguished, and it will be what empowers both of us to go out in the world and heal and serve in whatever way it can. So for me, and this is where we're mirroring each other for those of you who are registering this, for me, the emperor that I thought I wanted may not be the right choice for me, because he will not be able to make me his priority. And to whoever this Bell character is, I think your guides have already been telling you this, but I'm only reiterating it so that you trust yourself. Yes, he may look great on the front end, but if you want to be a priority in his life, then you have to compete with all of his empire, whoever his minions are, the people who directly work for him, his aides, or whoever the people are that are directly underneath him, and then any ex-family dynamics that he has between baby mamas and baby daddies, and then you have to figure out what place you are after their kids, if they have them, and then you're stepping into that role, and you're thinking that after the initial honeymoon phase, he'll be able to carry you through as a priority without ever actually having the honest conversation with him, if that's possible. Meanwhile, you have a soulmate sitting next to you that can give you everything you've ever wanted except the finances right away. And the universe is now looking through me at you going, but then do the work with him. If he can make you a priority from the get-go. And this is not to talk, most of you are going to end up with the emperor, by the way. Most of you are going to end up with whatever that archetypal alpha male is, because that's what you want. I get that. But this is specifically for a group of you who are divine feminine healers and psychics. You may be better suited because you know that you are the lioness. And if he's the lion, then the two of you can make a tribe and can create something quite beautiful together from the ground up, if you're willing to do the work. So you don't have to sacrifice what you truly want in order to accomplish something when you can have it from the get-go, right? Because for me, one of the things that I've had to face in my life is I really want to do a lot of charitable work, and it's really hard to do that when you're trying to have a 9-to-5 job. And then on top of it, I do my spiritual studies, I do my blog, I do my YouTube, I'm writing the book, I have the script, I have all this stuff going on. But if I'm going to take my time away from my purpose and incorporate someone else, then I need to be a priority. And I will not be competing with his empire. Either I'm it or I'm not. He can have a trophy wife anywhere else he wants for me. I don't have to have him as my emperor. I can be with a fucking peasant. I'm the one that can accomplish anything I want. And so can he. I want a partner. I don't want to be a secondary figure in my own relationship. Again, though, in the dynamic of business or projects or whatever you're working on, yes, you're going to be playing masculine and feminine energies throughout it. And depending on what your role is in the partnerships, you're going to be functioning in that way. But in my own interpersonal dynamic, in my own private life at home, I want to spend time with my husband, and I want him to prioritize me above anything else. Now, if he has kids, obviously I'm second. Like, I'm not going to be an asshole. But I want to be a priority. I don't want to compete and try to beg him for time when I could have just chosen my soulmate over here who wasn't maybe my twin flame. Right? I know everybody wants their twin flame, but twin flames have to come in at exactly the right vibration, at exactly the right time. There's Michael. Whenever you hear stuff like that, that's Michael. It's... they have to come in right at the right vibration. They can't come in either slightly askew or anything like that because it just doesn't work. They have to see each other as equal. And when you see each other as equal, you create you're already whole. You create the infinity symbol where two wholes are now working together consistently as equals. It doesn't ever switch like this, right? You still have functionality that can do that, but your core is the infinity running between your two hearts. And you are his priority. And that's super important for us right now as we head into this. So for the bells out there, and for the enchantress out there, who is the teacher dressed as a student, the universe just wanted me to remind you that peel the onion back as to what you truly are looking for in a relationship with another human being. You can have different dynamics in a partnership for business. You can be a colleague and so forth and friend zone each other all you want. But as we head into this, really take the time right now as we finish out this holy season to really assess where your heart lies. Because I can be of greater service to the divine if I'm in absolute love with another human being than I can ever be if I feel like I'm in a situation where I'm not even a priority for my partner. And I feel like he doesn't listen, we don't get enough time. It's nothing he's doing wrong. But for me personally, that doesn't fulfill my heart. You know what I mean? What am I going to do, raise their kids too? Okay, fine, but where's the exchange? I don't mind any of that, but I have to be true to who I am and really put up boundaries and be very specific when we meet each other so as to help them understand that I'm not in it to play games. I don't ever know where anything's turning. I'm not desperate. I can be alone, all of that stuff. But if I'm going to take time out of all of what I'm doing in order to incorporate someone else into my life, that I need to know that they can do that for me as well. And there's a certain level of sacrifice when you deal with very important people who have entire empires who aren't ready to put that kind of down a little bit and will always make the money more important than the relationship. That may not be the right alignment for everyone. For some of you who are self-sufficient, don't need anybody else, I don't understand that dynamic, but if that's comfortable for you, then go with God. Like, that's great. But the consideration here is that dynamic of really knowing who you are. Because the way it was explained to me is that's what's opening the door for these other energies to come in. Because as you're assessing things, you're not fine-tuning your signature to match who exactly you're looking for. And in that, you open up a doorway for the other people to try to step into it and block it because they are responding to the confusion as to what you truly are after. And it's important for us at this time to ground our energies and be knowing of where we're going and what we're doing. We don't know how it's going to happen. We don't know who's going to do what and how exactly it's coming because, fate and destiny or whatever you call it or serendipity, all of those things play a part, but you are divine feminine. So don't dim your light in this dynamic. The message is wherever you stand, as long as you can hold your light next to this person, then they are of consideration. But if you suddenly feel as though someone's trying to be manipulative, or you feel like there's something kind of skeezy about the situation, or even if you become aware of their like personal dynamics in business and you start to question it, then that's not for you. A divine being is someone gifted by God. That gift can be taken at any time. We know our place. We know how humble we are. We know that we've been through hell and high water, and we're not about to sacrifice that for the wrong relations. So we're looking for right relations. But in that, what is the best relationship for you? And that's the message of this video. When it was all said and done, after I had my little hissy fit, protecting, like, energetically trying to, it wasn't even, like, it's not something that it's my responsibility, right? All of us have free will. I just love everyone equally, and I really want the best for divine feminines, because some of you, I know from past experiences, are not only divine feminines, but you are service women to the great architect that have really helped a lot of faith be spread throughout the world who have never seen your comeuppance because of the way that the structure was for the patriarchal system. But as the divine feminine moves into her coronation and so forth, you are now being gifted the opportunity to stand in your power, but it comes with discernment. It comes with tests. It comes with understanding who you truly are and really grounding your energy. You can, I'll say it again, I can be of much greater service to humanity when I am genuinely in love with another person. Because no matter what happens in that relationship, whatever is built is so powerful that there's no amount of darkness or evil or malintent or daggers or spiritual attacks or psychological attacks that can fuck us up. Because bombs could go off around me and my partner in that dynamic, and we would come home and be just fine. We know we're protected by the great architect. We know that we're loved by the universe because we have service to the universe. But that dance is between a masculine and feminine. So whatever your male-female dynamic or whatever your masculine, feminine, whatever your dynamic is, understand that as a divine being, you are supposed to have already balanced them within yourself so that your agility to move back and forth between dynamics in order to keep it going is of more prominence, right? So you don't have to sacrifice one or the other to be with the right mate. But you also have to consider that not all twin flames are going to make the cut, right? You can't, because there's a thing that happens with divine feminines that I've noticed, especially those of you who have been of service to the divine for a very long time, where you wait around sometimes for someone to approach you in exactly the right context because you have this ideal that does not exist. And the universe is through me telling you, loosen that a bit. There are no guarantees. But don't block yourself off from seeing other opportunities because you're so busy focusing on one possibility. If he's the right person for you, there's nothing the soulmate can do. But if there's nothing there and you're holding space for someone who may not make the cut in time, then you're missing out on the opportunity to build everything you're supposed to be building now. Now, fortunately for us, we're in a rest period, which is super important to remind you. If you feel like things are really slow right now, it is for a reason. Next year is a juggernaut. It is a massive transition, and humanity is going to go through the dark night of the soul. You're going to need to be centered, and you're going to need to have your own way of being to center and ground yourself. So the people you're attracting need to be of service to that. You are working as teams, even if it's not a personal dynamic where you guys are lovers or whatnot. Maybe it's just business associates, but you have to be willing to play the yin and yang, and you have to be willing to be agile and make the pivots that you need to make, because sometimes the person that's right next to you that you've been looking at for a long time is your mate. It may not be your twin flame, but who's to say that the twin flame you're looking at wasn't the soulmate, and this one that you thought was a soulmate, it was actually your twin flame. We're looking at this through the wrong lens and situations, and for the Bell character in particular, and those of you who are in those handful of people, don't look for resources when you know God or whatever you believe in, the great architect Allah will give you the resources. You just have to build it. And if you are a Queen of Wands energy in particular, you have never not had your hands on the ground, right? Because what is it that I wrote? A person, someone who just, if you kick off too high off the ground, then you become unable to function in your modality. Meaning, if you end up in if you lose yourself to someone else and you play second fiddle and they have a lot of resources, then you end up in an ivory tower from which you can no longer be of service to the people that you were meant to serve on the ground. So take that into consideration too. You don't have to have a vast amount of money to be successful. We can find ways where some of you may marry a man who is a business owner, right? Or a feminine, or if you're a masculine who's marrying a feminine in this situation, Then you might marry a feminine who has a castle of her own or has some sort of business that's doing well, and your task is to raise the children and do all the spiritual work and be the volunteer and go do charity. You're accomplishing a lot more sometimes in that scenario than you would be if you're traveling the world trying to do all of this other stuff. You will know your calling, but it will depend on the masculine, right? The divine masculine, by the way, who's looking at Bell, is the right choice for the particular sector of the. In fact, I would say a majority of you will probably really love this person because they're going to make you the priority. It's the other percentage that I'm concerned about because I don't want you to be disappointed that God didn't give you the options when in truth He did. You just didn't see them. There's something called blinders. Sometimes we're so busy looking for an ideal situation that we neglect the fact that it's always been next to us. But we were looking for someone else to solve the problems we can solve ourselves. That is why we are divine, masculine, and feminine energies. It's because there's nothing we can't handle. Okay, there's another tower moment. To us, that's not a tower moment. That's just, I need to realign. I had one recently. I did something stupid where I made a bunch of noise in my house, and I never normally do that. And my neighbor got mad at me. That's not a tower to me. I could have, gotten in trouble with the landlord and all that. I didn't take it that way. I just readjusted and I knocked it off. It's a different mentality. We can fix all of our own issues. The person that you're attracting, though, is going to be someone who mirrors you. And so just make sure that the mirror you're looking at is actually you and not what the world is telling you it should be. Some of you are entering college years as souls, and some of you have a lot of work to do together with your mate on the ground. It doesn't have to be idealized until you get there naturally, right? Some of the best unions I've ever seen in the history of the world have been people who have built it from the ground together. Do not neglect that potentiality because you're looking to take an angle. Even though that may not be a conscious thought, what if it's your subconscious thought of thinking, I can take a shortcut here if I marry this? No. The person coming at you, even if they are at a high vibration and are a wonderfully powerful person, is looking for an equal. They're not looking for someone they have to do a handout. They are going to pick you because they know you could do it on your own. It's just that they have fallen in love with you. There's something about you that brings unity and love and light to the world. And you extend your grace to other people. You are divine. You hand the vine of hope and love and light to other people regularly. Somebody I'm just going to tell you, you're not going to be surprised by this, but at least 2 of you have been investigated by your partner. That's how powerful they are. And what are you going to get mad about? Of course you're going to be investigated. God investigated you. What do you think all these tests were? If you suddenly get handed the keys to a palace or to a seat at a table, you don't think that they looked at you? If you are thinking about what if there's a celebrity out there that might like one of you? You don't think that the people who represent him aren't going to look up your butt and be like, well, what is this person about? It's going to be dramatic. What kind of personality is it? What are you going to get mad when you find out? No, I'm going to be like, thank you. Because now my guys are going to be up your butt for the rest of eternity. Just trust me. You have to be reasonable with stuff like that. But if you get mad at the fact that they investigated you, then you know already going into it you might not be in right alignment. Because it makes perfect logical sense to a divine feminine that if an emperor is looking for his empress, that he's going to do a little digging. How are you going to bring somebody into an empire if you haven't done the research on them? Come on, y'all. Those are miscellaneous and kind of wrong alignments all kind of bouncing against each other. So the message I'm supposed to give you, divine feminines, is know yourself. You can accomplish the same amount of good from the ground up as you could by marrying someone who's better off. But if the person that's better off is not going to prioritize you, and that's something really important to you, because that's a big thing for me. Love is the ultimate answer. I could give a fuck about the rest of the situation. But love is the only thing that is of any value to someone like me. I can create so much more out of love than I can from any resources, financial or otherwise. No mineral, no compound, no nothing could provide me with much love and enough energy as love itself. But that's me. If you have a different set of circumstances, you just need to know what they are so that you hone in the perfect signature to resonate with who you are and where you're going. And even if you don't know how you're going to get there, you know your mission, if you're divine feminine or masculine, you know your purpose, and you know who's in the right registry. The question is, can you guys be honest enough with each other to have the conversations that really will matter in the end? Because some of you are going to experience love that has never happened on planet Earth before. It will be that amazing. But it will only go to those who understand what it is to be balanced, masculine, feminine within themselves, and who really sat down and thought about it. And really said to yourself, wait, I get all the benefits here. This could sound like a dream opportunity in business, but what if they're trying to have a personal dynamic? I'm not going to be the priority. But I can have it all if I make this a business opportunity, be very clear with it, that's all it can be because of this XYZ, and then be open to have the love of my life over here. Don't tunnel vision yourself so much onto your path and your purpose without forgetting that part of your purpose is to experience love in life. That is the whole point of all this. A person who is trying to be of service to the world but doesn't understand the world because they're disconnected somehow is not really of service, even if their heart's in the right place. So to thine own heart be true. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.